and share my screen. And you should, can you see the screen, Lara?
Yes, yes, I
Okay.
can. Yes.
So you should be all good to get going.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar entitled Google Apps 101. My name is Lara Flory, and I'm a volunteer with SCORE, and I will be co-leading today's discussion with Cliff Calderwood. And I just want to cover a few introductory items before we get going. And you see, and you can go ahead and, yeah, thanks. You see listed on the slide, the organizations that provide assistance to us in presenting this webinar. So we're supported by the Cape Cod Chamber of Commerce and the various chambers of commerce located on the Cape and the islands, as well as by the Community Development Partnership located in Eastham. As always, we are grateful to all of these organizations for their ongoing support of our educational programs. For those of you who are not familiar with SCORE, we are a fully volunteer nonprofit organization and a resource partner of the U.S. Small Business Administration. SCORE's mission is to foster vibrant small business communities through mentoring and education. SCORE has been doing this work since its founding in 1964 through educational opportunities like this webinar, as well as by providing mentoring to people who are in business or are thinking about starting a business. We benefit from having more than 50 volunteer mentors and subject matter experts serving in our chapter here on Cape Cod and the islands. People who have a broad array of differing career experience and expertise. So if you would like to avail yourself of these mentoring services, all of which come at no cost and are completely confidential, you can call the SCORE office at 508-775-4884 or go online to seek an appointment at www.capecod.score.org, clicking the Find a Mentor tab to get started. I also know that many of you on this webinar today come from other SCORE chapters in our district, a district that covers all of Massachusetts and Rhode Island. Mentors and subject matter experts in each of these chapters are ready to provide mentoring assistance to you as well. Their website access is listed here and will be posted later in the chat function. You see on the slide a reference to Coastal Community Capital, a lending organization based here on the Cape that is licensed to do business throughout Massachusetts. We here at the Cape and Islands chapter of SCORE frequently work together with Coastal, helping their clients to develop their business plans further and helping clients to better understand the scope of financing alternatives that may be available to them. And the last preliminary, today's procedures. All participants other than our facilitators have been muted. We ask that you enter any questions or comments that you might have in the Q&A feature using the button that you should see at the bottom of your screen. Please do not enter them into the chat. It's just easier for us to track one feature. We will answer as many questions as we can get to during the course of the discussion. Be aware that the webinar is being recorded, and we'll send a link to the recording and other material, including the slideshow, to all who registered for today's session once the recording is available. And we will launch a poll near the end of the webinar. We would appreciate you responding to the poll before you leave. It helps us make sure that our educational programming is meeting the needs of our small business community. And now I will turn it back over to Cliff to get us started.
Okay, thank you, Lara.
You're welcome.
So here's our agenda for today, the topics we're going to cover. I'll start off by giving us a brief overview of Google Apps, the various options that you have, what you get, how to find the apps. Lara will then discuss the Google Docs app with a live demo. And then I'll return and discuss the Google Drive app, also with a live demo. And finally, we'll finish up with some further resources for you. Just as a reminder, this is a 101 webinar. So Google Apps is quite a big beast in itself and goes quite deep. It replaces a lot of the other apps that people use, such as the Microsoft Office suite and that. And obviously you can spend days going through that. So we'll just, our aim here is really just to get you started and point you in the right direction. So let's start out by avoiding any confusion. Google has different names for different stuff, and they're forever changing, as probably most of you are aware with new names come out. Google Apps really has two versions. There's the free paid version, which comes with your free Gmail account, and then there's a paid version that is designed for businesses. As most people here on this call are likely to have the Gmail account version, then that's really what we're going to focus on with this one. I would say that the main difference is the amount of support that you get. With the Workspace version, which is the paid version, then you get more storage, but you also get the ability to tap into Google support. Whereas with the free Gmail account apps that you get, then it's really more of a knowledge base, help files, and there is a community help facility as well that you can tap into. So those are the two differences. And as I said, we're gonna focus on the Gmail app account version. Whoops. I did a few. I think this is the slide I want to be on. Yeah. Okay, so Google Apps is a cloud-based product, which basically means that instead of your files being on your local drive, then they're up in the drive in the cloud. And that's really the primary difference that you can have. This means that you can access them through any device, you can attach to the internet, you can share your files with other people without sending them a copy, and you can limit what they can do with the files that you send them. You're also able to sync folders on your local device with your cloud version, where it says sync seamlessly. In order to do that, you need to download a desktop app that Google provides. And we won't be covering that today, but it is available to you if you're the type of person that likes to have your files in two places and synced automatically. As I said, you can access from anywhere, any device that you can connect to the internet, and you can share easily. How you get to Google Apps is pretty straightforward. Many of you, if you sign into your Gmail account, you will sign in that way. The other way of getting to your Google Apps is to use accounts.google.com. I'll do a quick demo of how to log in case anyone needs that's new to them. And then you'll choose your account. And then in order to get to the apps, you will always click the 9 dots. The 9 dots will be available wherever you are in Google. If you're in Gmail, or if you're in Drive, or if you're in Docs, there'll always be the 9 dots available to you, that when you click, it will show you all the apps that you have that are available to you.
And Cliff, just real quick, we had a question I just want to address. Steve's asking, why focus on the free version in a business presentation when everyone can afford the $6 a month? And I think one of the reasons for that is just the free the business version has all the free options plus. And for me, by focusing on the free version, it just for a 101, that seemed to make the most sense to us. And then we can always later on do a Google's 102 as and focus more on the different features of the business option.
Right, and the things we're showing today as regards Docs and Drive work the same way in the business version as they do in the free version. So I will, before you go in, I'm just gonna stop. I'm just gonna go out to here just to log in, just to show people what I had the slide on the slides. So I usually go in this way. This is the account that I'm going in. I have multiple Gmail accounts, and some of that's probably the same for some of you as well. So here I am in my personal Gmail account, and there's the 9 dots. I click that, and as you can see that you've got here, these are the apps that are available to me. And the ones we'll be talking about today are Drive and Docs. And with that being said, I'm going to come back to presentation and let Laura go through her component and her live demo. Okay, Laura, over to you.
Okay, thank you. All right, so let's go ahead and what I'm going to do is just go through the slides quickly so you know what I do plan to cover on the Google Docs, and then once I give you an overview of that, I'll start the live demonstration, and then the slides again we will send to you, so they're also something for you to be able to refer back to as well. So you can go ahead to the next one. And so the first thing I'm going to do is go over how to locate documents in Google Drive, whether they're documents that were shared with you or that you created. I'm sorry, I'm going to show you in the Google Docs app. Now, I normally do everything through Google Drive. So if I want to create a document, I will create it through Google Drive. But Cliff is going to show you a little bit more about Google Drive later on, and I'm going to focus on Google Docs. And as in a lot of applications, there's multiple ways to do the same thing. And it's just really kind of what you're used to, what your preference is. So I'll show you a few different ways to locate files. And then on the next slide, I'll go over how to create a document, how to delete a document, and then how to recover a document that you may have deleted in error or decided you needed. And then next, we'll look at editing and formatting and saving within a Google document. So we could spend probably a whole 2-hour webinar on just this. So what I did is pick kind of the 3 main things that when I ask people, they tell me is what they use the most, and also what I myself find helpful. So we'll look at how to create an outline, how to insert photos, and then this tool called the Format Painter. And then finally, the thing that I find most valuable personally about Google Docs is the ability to collaborate within a document, and you can collaborate simultaneously. So 2 people can be in the document at the same time, and you can see in real time edits as they happen. So I'll kind of give you an overview of what that looks like in the process. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, so you should be able to see my Google homepage. And Cliff, can you see it?
I can see your homepage, yes.
Okay, perfect. So as Cliff mentioned, to locate Google Apps, you want to go to the 9 dots here in the right-hand corner of your screen. And then now I'm going to scroll down to find Google Docs. And so here I have a list of documents that I've already created. So to open one, I would just simply select it. I can also search for a document using the search bar. So you can see that brought up my document there, and then I'm just going to close that. And then there's also this file picker icon. It looks like a little folder. So when you can create you can organize your documents into folders within Google Docs. I find it easiest to do that in Drive, but when you open Docs, you'll see the folder. So I'm going to click on that folder. So you can see I only have mine organized in one folder that I did for this demo, and it's demo document. So I can then open that folder. There's another folder within that one, and I can see what's in that folder. And then I can also look at what's shared with me. Currently, I don't have anything shared. If you have a favorite document that you have starred, you can star documents. I can see what my most recent is. And then I can also upload a Word document into Google Docs from my device. So that those give me all the options there. And then to create a document, so if you're logging into Google Docs the first time, you may see, let me bring it up here, what it looks like. So the first time I logged in, I had a list of templates here, and these are templates that are provided by Google that you can use. And to create a new document, there's this plus sign at the top of the screen. So you would just select that to create a new document. Now these kind of got in my way, so I hid them. So to hide them, there's 3 dots here. And I'm just going to select hide all templates. And then once I do that, the icon to add a template is no longer at the top of the screen, but it's at the bottom right of my screen now. And if I hover over it, I get the option for create a new document, or I can go back into the templates and choose a template. So let's go ahead and create a new document. So you can see, if you're familiar with Microsoft Word, it looks a whole lot like Word as well. So I am going to go to the edit format and save for this document, and then I'll go back and show you how to delete it as well. So here is this outline. So I can hide it, and if I want to see an outline, I select the show document outline. Now there's nothing in here because I don't have anything in my document. So I'm just going to go through quickly and add some text to show you how to create an outline, and then I'll go over why it's helpful. Let's see. Header 1, header 2, header 3, and then just a normal paragraph. Okay, so still nothing in my outline. So what I have to do is tell Google Docs that this is a title, subtitle, and then it'll format it for me. So I'm going to select the text for title, and up here at the top of my screen, there's a drop-down menu. Right now it's on normal text, and if I select the arrow next to it, I get the option for formatting. So I'm going to select title, and then I'm just going to go through here and select a different one for each one. And you can also use, so this is, I'm telling Google Docs really how to format the outline, but you can also, we want that as normal. You can also then change the font to be different font, different size, and it'll still keep it there as your header. It's out of the way. So now I have my outline, and this comes in especially handy if you have like a longer document. So let's move this down to another page. And I'm going to scroll back up. And if I want to go to that area of the document, I'm just going to click that header, and it takes me right there instead of me having to scroll down and try to find it. So that's how you create an outline. And then you can also insert photos, charts, So again, there's multiple ways sometimes to do the same thing. So to insert a photo, there's this little like image icon at the top of the screen, and there's a drop down arrow next to it. And so if I select that drop down, I get the option to upload a photo directly from my computer or from Drive, from Google Photos, or I could take one directly from my computer camera now. So, and then the other option to insert, there's this insert at the top left of the screen here, and that gives me all the options to insert a photo as well as the table, drawing, chart. So one of the things that I find handy if you use Google Photos is that you can insert an image directly from photos. So sometimes I'll run out of space on my iPhone because of all the photos, and so I'll upload them into Google Docs, and Google makes that really easy to do. Just download the Photos app on your phone, and then you can share them right from that. So for this demo, I actually have one. So I selected the photo. This is Liza Jane, my dog, and then hit insert, and that is huge. So I'm just gonna drag it to shrink it down here. And so that's how you insert a photo. And then the other thing I wanted to show you is this format painter. So let me take the photo out of here. So let's say I want this to be blue font. So I'm going to go up here to this letter A. It says text color, and I'm just going to change that to blue. And now let's say I want all my headers to be the same font and color. So I'm going to highlight the one that I want to keep. And then at the top of the screen, there's this paint. It looks like a paint roller. And actually, Microsoft Word has the same tool that looks like a paintbrush. So I'm just going to select that. And then my cursor now has, and it's probably hard to see on your screen, but it's a little paint roller next to my cursor. And I'm going to select the text that I want to apply that format to. And so you can now see the subtitle has the same font size as the title. If I wanted to do multiple, I would double click the paint formatter. And then now it lets me do, oops, I have to highlight the one I want to keep first. So let's do that. All right, so highlight. All right, I'm going to double click that. And now to let me go through and highlight all the text that I want to change. And then to get rid of that, I'm just going to select the paint format again, and now I can type as normal. So that's how you kind of just some of the three things: creating outline, inserting photos, and format painter. And then I'm just going to, the other thing that I think Cliff may have mentioned early on is it'll automatically save the document. So you don't have to go to, there's not even the option to save here. It saves automatically in Google, so you don't have to remember to save. And I'm just going to hit the back button here. And now I'm back in my list of documents. And actually, let's give this one a title. So I'm going to open it again. I meant to show you this too. So right now, the document title is untitled document because I didn't give it a title. So to title it while I'm in the document, I can just select it. And it also automatically takes the first line. But you can change that. So I can just type over it if I want it something other than title. So let's call this Demo 3. And now I'm going back to my Google Docs. And I can see Demo 3 here. And then I just saw a question come through. Does Docs files ever corrupt and lose them? I have never had it happen. I don't want to say never. So I've been using it for several years, and I've never had that happen. So that's I think it's unlikely for it to happen. And then let's go to the right here. So let's delete this document. And also it has safety checks in it if you accidentally delete a document, which comes in handy. So I'm going to click these three dots and I'm going to select remove. And so I get this little warning, move to trash, and it lets me know that it will be moved to the trash. And then after 30 days, it will be deleted forever. And after that time, I will not be able to recover it. And same if I've shared it with other people, they can still access and make a copy of it for 30 days, but after the 30 days, it will be permanently deleted. So let's go ahead and move that to the trash. Now let's say, oops, I did not want to do that. To recover it, I have to go to Google Drive. So up here in the top left-hand corner of my screen is the main menu. And I'm going to select Drive. And again, Cliff will go a little bit more into Drive, but I'm just going to show you where to find that document here. So right now I have all my documents listed here. And then if I had any spreadsheets or slides, they would also be listed in my Drive. And then I'm going to select Trash. And you see that demo 3 that I deleted. And so if I right click on that, I had the option to restore it or delete it forever. Now, if I delete it forever, you can't recover it. Let's see if it gives us a warning. I can't remember. It does give us a warning. So, and it tells us we won't be able to restore it. So I'm going to cancel that. And then to restore it, I would just select restore. And then it's no longer in my trash bin. And if I close Google Drive, I'll now see demo 3 is back in my documents and it's restored as though it's never been deleted. And then the last thing, the one that again is my favorite feature, is the ability to collaborate. So I'm going to open this pet resume here. And this is a template that Google provided. So, and then let me just share it. So it shows me I already shared it with one person. So you can see I shared it with my alter ego self here. But to share, I'll just show you if I wanted to use another Google address. I would just type the address, and then if it finds it in my directory, it'll automatically populate it for me. And then once I select it, the default is editor, which would give me full permissions to edit it as well. But you can also give someone only viewer permissions or only the ability to comment. And then I would just send, and they would get an email letting them know they got it. And I think Cliffs is also going to go over that a little bit more detail when he goes over Drive. But I am going to, so I've already shared it with myself. So let me open it so you can see what it looks like when 2 other people are in it. So let me just pull it up on my other screen here. Give me just a second. Okay, so I don't know if you noticed that 2 things happen at the top of the screen. I now have this icon for the person it's shared with, and then there's a cursor on where that person is in the document. And so, and then in that document, you have the option to edit. Even if you have full permissions, you can change it where you say, I don't want to change the other person's document. I just want to give them suggestions, and you can do suggestions, or you can view it. So I'm going to first start with editing. So I'm on my other screen here where I'm signed in. I am going to just make a change so you can see what it looks like. So I jump down to health, and then I can start typing. And again, I'm doing this in my other account. So let's say health and diet. And so you can see it automatically changes, and you could see it as I was changing. Now, if I did suggestion mode, so now on my other screen and my other account, I'm going to take out and diet, hit delete. Oh, and I did suggestion mode on this screen instead of my other one. So let's type and diet in again. And it's still in the wrong mode. Give me 1 second. Here we go. Okay. For some reason, here we go. It's because my screen is too big. Let's hide that. Okay, so what happened, it shows what I typed, but it gave me the option now, instead of just changing it, I can either accept or reject that change. So if I reject it, it goes away. If I accepted it, it would leave it, and that comment would show that it was accepted. And then you can even see the comment history here as well. The other thing that's nice about Google Docs is you can see the version history. So if I go here to version history, see version history. And so I can see I was getting ready for our demo today. And so you can see the different times that I was in it, and the test account was in it. And you can even go back to all those different versions. And so if you accidentally make a change, you can go back and see the previous version and save that version instead. And let's see if that was all I believe I had for Google Docs. And it looks like there's some questions. So
yeah, so we've got one. So Lara, one was from one of the attendees, says, how big is the size of the docs? Is there any limits on the size of a document file you can create?
I don't know on a single file. I do think the storage and drive has limits. I've never exceeded those limits. I have exceeded it in Google Photos though. So I am not sure. I can look that up though, and I'll try to remember to send it out when I send out the slides, unless you know, Cliff.
Well, overall on Drive, for the free version, you've got 15 gig. Although you can upgrade that, but then you'll have to pay money, which seems a bit silly if you're going to have the free version to pay money. So it's 15 gig. Whether you can use 15 gig for one file, I have no idea. You probably wouldn't want to do that anyway. But I would have thought that you can at least have something of a gig. But that could be a question that we'll follow up with to get someone the exact answer to that.
And then some things came in through the chat too. Okay, it looks
like
there was you taking care of that.
Yeah, Diane is trying to get. So Diane, we hadn't intended to show that because that's a different app, but within Forms, I have used Forms to create surveys, and within Forms you can create a URL to the survey, and then whatever app you use to create your QR code was what you would put that URL into.
Oh, and then from an email, I want to print a QR code to go to the forms. Yeah, whatever. I'm not familiar with printing QR codes, but obviously there are apps where you can take a URL that you get from Forms to the survey and then put it into the app that creates the QR code. And then when you print that QR code on the document, then when someone uses the QR reader in their mobile camera, then it will take them directly to that survey to complete. That's my understanding of how that would work. But we can definitely follow up with that, Diane, if you want us to. That's my understanding as well too. So okay. And then let me stop sharing so you can share, and I'll see. All right, Cliff,
Okay.
it should be
All
in
right.
your hands now.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Just going to. Okay, so you should see a screen that just says Google Drive. Can you confirm that for me, Lara?
I am not seeing it. Let me make sure it's not on another screen. I am not seeing it.
Oh, maybe I'm not sharing my screen. That would help if I do that, right?
All the options you have to remember.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm not showing my screen.
I'm still, oh, now you are, okay. I thought maybe I was.
You can see
supposed
it
to
now?
I see it now, yes.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to do the same as Lara did, and that I'll walk you through some slides just so you've got these as a reference. And then I will do the live demo of my piece as well. Okay, so just a refresher. This is how you get to your Google. This is how you will get to Google Drive. You would log in as we did, as I showed you before, and then you do the 9 dots, and then you choose the Drive app. It's an app just like any of the other ones. It's really your file folder app. I look at it, if you're familiar with in the Windows app where you've got the file folder icon, then this effectively is the same. So assuming you've got into your app, you've chosen Drive, then this is what you'll see. The two that we're going to discuss today is My Drive and Shared With Me. And it's pretty straightforward. My Drive is where all your folders and your files will be located, as you saw before in Lara's demonstration. She created a document and that ended up in her My Drive folder. And I'll show you My Drive folder when we do the live demo, so you can see the folders and the files that are in My Drive on my personal email account. And then the other one you want to make note of is the Shared With Me. So when people share files and folders with you, this is where they will be. They will be in the Shared With Me location, not in the My Drive. And depending on what permissions you get, there'll be permissions that you can give for files in your folder to other people. And then within your Shared With Me, you will also have permissions that other people have given you within your files, within that folder. Now be aware, then the file, what you see in the Shared With Me is not really folder and files. They are links to folders and files that are owned by somebody else from their account. So it's really just shortcut links that you'll see there. So if you start moving those files and folders around to your drive, where you want to just move them into your drive, then just remember you can do that, but that you don't really own them. They're owned by somebody else. So I tend to not do that. I tend to leave everything that's shared with me in the Shared With Me location. You can get, so there's more explanation here that I've just gone through. Here you can, when you click the Shared With Me, it will expand to show you what files and folders you got in the Shared With Me, the same in My Drive. And then if you want to see what permissions you have, you would just right click. And this is what you will get here when you right click, both in the My Drive files. You can see that I've got some folders here. And then with the Shared With Me, these are things that people have shared with me. And then you right click, you can see what you can do with that particular file, which may be different from what you can do with the files in My Drive that you own. Sharing files in your drive with other Gmail users is pretty straightforward. You would go to the file. that you want to share, then you would right click and you would say share, supplies, and then you will get this box that comes up. And then when you type, you would type in, there's two types of shares that you can do, right? One were other Gmail users where they have a Gmail account. And if that's the case with who you're trying to send, give access to this file, then you would type in their Gmail address, their email address under Gmail. And then you would basically share, then you would get this screen pop up. And then you would type, depending on, you give them permission. So if you give them viewer, that means they can just read it. They can't do anything with it. You could do commenter, where if you want them to comment, and people do this with their documents sometimes, where they want to share a document and they want people to comment it, but they don't want to allow them to edit the document. They just want them to comment on it. And then finally, if they have editor access, then you're allowing them to make changes to that document. Again, remember that document that they change is changing in your location. They only have a shortcut to it. So those are the types of permissions that you can give people. And then I always tick notify, because then they will get an email that basically will notify them that there's a file for them that's being shared, and then they can click the link and get to the file that way. And that's the email that they will receive. And again, I'll go through this in the live demo for you so you can see it in action. And then sharing a Drive file with non-Gmail users, that's maybe someone's got a yahoo.com address or a business address, you know, something like Cliff at Free at Last Hypnosis, which is my business address. Then I'll show that. It's not a Gmail account, and so they would not be able to log into Gmail to see it. And in that way, in that circumstance, you would get them a link. So you can get them a link, and basically you can miss anyone on the internet. You can set it up so that anyone in the internet with that link that you share with can see that file or can get access to that file. In that instance, I really recommend, if you use that option to send it to a non-Gmail user, that you give them only view access. Otherwise, if they share that link with somebody else and you've given them editor access, then that person can edit your file as well, which you probably don't want. So just be wary of the get link, but I will show the get link in action for you as well. There's a couple of slides here I'm not going to go through just because of timing, but the way your drive looks, you may want to change the way it looks. And these two slides here will tell you how to go about doing that so that it makes it nice and clean for you. But you can do that yourself. This is pretty straightforward on how to change the way your drive page looks to you. Okay, so I'm going to go into the live demo now. I will stop sharing. There's a Q&A. I want to see if we can take that. What about creating a shared folder? Is that the same? Yeah, well, yes, we'll show you how to set up a shared folder when I'm in there.
And then the shared folder will give everyone that has access to that folder access to all the documents within that
Correct.
folder.
Correct. Okay. No, I could say where I was actually. So I'm going to go to this one. So you should be able to see my smiling face. It says welcome Cliff Caldwell. Do you see that, Laura, just to confirm I'm in the right place?
Yes, I do see that.
Okay, so this is where I signed in earlier, if you remember. This is my personal email account, so I'm gonna start with that. So I'm going to go into Drive. So you can see my drive. This is my drive here. These are the folders that I've got, and then shared with me. So these are all the files that people have shared with me. Again, remember, they're just really links to files who are owned by other people. I'll start with my drive, right? So what I was going to show you is to, first of all, how to navigate around, right? It's pretty straightforward. And I've set mine up so that I've got rid of a lot of the spurious stuff that you will see when you first sign in with which I talked about earlier, with how to clear out tabs and lists and so on that you may want to have different views on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into this Google Apps. This is a drive that I've created. These are the documents I've got in there. I created this with Doc, the document app like Lara showed you. So I'm going to give permission to another Gmail user, which is actually another Gmail account that I have, right? So I'm checking the system, but that this is valid enough. I'll right click. And if you remember, I said you would share, right, with another Gmail user. So I'll click share. So then I'm going to type in my other, so it just so happens I've got my other Gmail user already in there. If they weren't in the list that dropped down, then you would just start typing their email address.
And while you're doing that, Cliff, just real quick, a question came in. From Diane, do all documents automatically move to Drive, or do you have to manually move them?
No, they all, go ahead. You know that one better than I do.
That either way, I think we both know that. So yeah, if you create it within Google Docs, they will automatically save to Drive. You do not have to manually move them, which is one of the other handy features of Google Docs. And same thing if you're using Google Sheets as well.
Right. So the permissions that we talked about, I don't want to give them editor permission. I'll just give them view. I always click notify because then they get an email. If you don't click notify, they won't get an email, even though they still get access. I just find it easier to leave notified clicked, then they will get an email with a link in it. And that's all you do to share it with someone that's already a Gmail user. So then I will send that. So now I'm going to show you sharing with someone that is not a Gmail user. And then we'll go into these accounts so that you can see what they receive. So if you remember, I said if another Gmail user, I would use get link by clicking get link. Yeah. Google's very good about reminding you. Sometimes it gets in the way. So I will copy the link, but before I copy the link, I'm just gonna, I don't want to restrict it. What I'm going to do is anyone I share this link with is going to be able to access this. And this is a pretty common way to do stuff with people out. If you're using a personal account, right? If you're using a business account, you will get different options here. And depending on how you set up your business account, then your options will vary and what you can share with people within your organization and outside. But from this demo, I'm just going to allow anyone with the link. And then I'll click. I'm going to copy the link, and then I'll click done. Now, when you do things this way, there's no email that's automatically sent, right? Because you didn't put in an email specific to somebody. So now I'm going to have to create an email in order to send to this person with that link in it. So I'm going to go into my Gmail account, which is here. I'm going to compose. And I'm going to send this to a business account that is not a Gmail account. Right. and then I'll paste this in. So that's the link that I got that's going to allow them to give them access to it without them being signed into a Gmail account. And then I will send this. Okay, so now I've sent these. One went automatically to a Gmail user, and the other one's gone to a separate account that's not a Gmail user. So let's go and look at those emails. So you can see this is the email that I sent. Just sent to this other Gmail account that I've got. And as you can see what it says, test document for Google Webinar. So then I'm just going to click to open it. And there's the document. Yeah. And I do not have edit access. So all I can do with this is just view it. Whoops. That's all I can do. If I'd allowed them to comment it, then I could put comments on here. If I allowed to edit it, then it would let me edit this document. And again, it would edit the original back in the person that sent it to me in their Drive account. So the other option I wanted to show you was the email that goes to the business account. What that looks like.
So a question just came in, can they make a copy or download it?
Yes, they can. So they can make a copy and download it. Then it becomes, they can make both. They can make a copy and they can download it. So that then that effectively that becomes their version of that document. So here's the link that I sent, if you remember, that had the just the document in it. I'm not logged into any Gmail account in this browser. I'm using Microsoft Edge, so I'm not logged into any Gmail account. I'm going to click this, and I see the same document, but then I'm not logged in. So I could sign into an account if I wanted to, but I don't have to. So that's another way of giving people access to documents that don't have a Gmail account or that struggle to log into their Gmail account, which we come across now and then. So those are the things that I wanted to show you, but I wanted to also go back to the question that somebody had about, what was it? Can you remind me what the question again was?
About the QR code, is that the one you're thinking of? Or?
No, it was somebody else was about giving, can I create a folder and give permissions?
Yes.
Yeah, so here you would go in My Drive, and then you would click New, and it would say folder. So then you create a folder, I'll call it Cliff. Create. So now it's created a folder here, right? And if you wanted to give permission to this, you would just share. Same concept as a file, right? File and folder, same concept. Then you would just put in their email address. If it was a Gmail user, put in their email address, give them whatever options. I'll choose.
Yeah, because that was the other part of that question is they want to be able to give people the option to read and download, but not to make changes to any documents in the folder.
Correct. So then you could just give them viewer, or you could give them editor. So if you gave somebody editor access to this folder, then as Lara mentioned earlier, they would get access to all the files within this folder. It would kind of propagate down unless you went individually to the files. So in this instance here, let me just click out this, cancel. Unless you went down into here and then you shared and took them, unless I took them off here. If I took them off here, I would. I'd have to look and see. I thought there was a way. Of being able to take their rights away.
I thought so too. And
Yeah.
that's
Removed.
there we are.
There you go.
Good.
I didn't wait long enough. So now that person's removed, you can't see it any longer. That file. So you can, depending on what level you're at, a folder or a file level, then you can change rights, and then that person would no longer have access, just their email address, not for everybody. So you can pick and choose who continues to have access to stuff. Okay. I just want to make sure that I've got nothing. All right, so I'm going to go back to demo. I'm just going to kick the poll off, okay, before we cover the resources that you will have access to in here. I'm going to click the poll. So you'll see a poll. We'd really appreciate you filling it in. And then I'm going to come back here and tell you how to get this slide here. Covers resources. I did actually add one in just for docs. Lara, that I found it was in the same location as all the other one. Google has pretty elaborate help documents out there. You're never gonna be short of information from Google on both help files and videos. They have a really good video tutorial channel. I prefer to look at videos, but some people like help files, and it goes through attachments in Gmail. There's the Google Video channel. Finding files in Google Drive using the search facility. Sometimes you can get really elaborate with Drive with many folders and many files, and sometimes the names don't always tell you what's actually in the file. So you can do searches quite elaborately within Drive as well. And then there's help documentation for Drive and the docs as well. Okay.
I found the answer to a question we had earlier about the file size in Google Docs. So it's up to 1 million characters, or it says if you convert a text document to a Google Docs format, it can be up to 50 megabytes. So there is a limit per document as well.
15 megabytes?
50.
50, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty large, right?
Yeah, yes, I've never run into that.
Okay.
And for the suggestion about doing more with additional apps, I will definitely pass that suggestion along. I think that'd be nice. I use Photos a lot. I use Sheets a lot, and then Cliff and I used Google Slides to be able to collaborate on the slides together for this presentation. So.
Okay. So Monica's just given feedback on learning slides. So yeah, maybe we'll just find if people give us feedback. We'd love to have your feedback. You'll be receiving an email either later today or first thing tomorrow that's got the link to this recording and the slides. And actually we'll ask you if you would give us I know you're doing a poll, but we'd ask you if you'd give us a review in our Google review as well. That would be appreciated for score. And seeing as this is all volunteer work and we all put this together for you and we want it to be valuable for you. So the poll gives us feedback on that, and the Google review that we ask you to do first gives you an opportunity, to thank us for the work that we've done as well. And we'll certainly follow up on any additional apps that people want us to see, and if there's a call for delving into the business workspace paid product that Google does, then we'll certainly be willing to pull that together for folks as well. Okay. I'm going to stop recording.
All right, and thank you, everyone.